capitalize on this and bring him in here, you know, in the space we already had running. So rather than setting up a separate space, which we'd have to build back up, he got exposure to, like, you know, a good amount of people there. I did have a lady that lived in New Jersey. I sent her his information. She wanted to help and support and make a difference. And I'm like, well, here's somebody. And she ended up telling me later on that she's not in his district. But I'm like, you know, if he's in a neighboring district, you could help him, you know, like that's just part of it, you know, is
100%.
we need like a nationwide effort on all these candidates to get all the rhinos out, get all the dinos out. And, you know, this has got to be a nationwide effort on all these races to get Chip Roy out, to get, you know, Dan Crenshaw, all these scumbags, let's just say, the old guard.
Yeah, man, I've been going door knocking every weekend and meeting like hundreds of people, and everybody's kind of on the same page. They're all pro-Trump. They're all America first. They're all love RFK Jr. And they're all sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know?
Amen.
So they're like, wow, a breath of fresh air. I'm going to definitely vote for him.
All right, we're slowly growing the space. People might be having a little bit of difficulty today getting in, so if something happens, we'll probably relaunch. If we somehow lose the space, we'll relaunch it. And appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate your patience. Please retweet the space, and we'll give a little more time, and then we'll get going.
I just went and updated my app and came back in, so.
Yeah, I updated.
Hopefully that'll help.
I see we've got the Council on Domestic Relations down there and Danielle Lasher. Definitely want to have them up here today. They're dear friends of mine. Also worked on the RFK Jr. campaign and are basically the ones who have kickstarted this whole Call Your Senator initiative to get these guys confirmed. They kicked that off and have been in contact with RFK, so they're great.
I sent an invite to Danielle, and Council came up.
And I see Kelly down there, so I believe that we are streaming on Rumble, Impil.net, QUX, Kick.com, maybe Locals, and YouTube. So welcome, everybody. Excited to see everybody. And then we are going to be putting up the documents. I worked on them this weekend to get them updated. We have a spreadsheet that's got all of the Congress people on it with links to their websites so you can get in touch with them, or it also has a link to their Twitter account or X account. So we'll be putting those down in the pill and up in the nest here in a minute. Well, here comes Kelly. She's going to tell me what I said wrong.
Whoops, hello. Everything's going crazy today. No, I just wanted to let you know I failed to launch live streaming on X. We're using Rumble Studios, so there's probably something still goofy there. But we are streaming to QUX, Rumble, Pill, Kick, and YouTube.
Nice. Yeah, X is under major attack or something's going on.
Did you hear this? I don't know. Pete Santilli was saying that Trump has CIA documents which implicate the Soros as Ukraine war criminals. Putin agrees. Oh, okay. I don't know. What are these CIA documents implicating Soros?
Is that clickbait?
Nah. It's Pete Santilli. I don't know.
Oh, Pete Santilli, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the first I've heard of that, but I think I've heard like rumblings before about that. Nothing solid.
It says here, absolute proof: the CIA recruited George Soros and collaborated with Nazis in 1949. It's a book he's got out. Interesting.
Good old Pete. All right, so we are going to get started here as people kind of, make their way in. The app has been definitely causing issues today, so hopefully we can get our numbers up. Oh, there's Jen. Hi, Jen.
Hey, guys. I literally couldn't get into the space.
Yeah, I had to go update my app.
Yeah. It took me 3 times where I came into the space, and then you guys saw the image I just posted on the back channel. It shows the message you get when you don't connect.
Is it some Ukrainian bullshit?
I don't know. I was wondering. Is it just?
Take your pick of enemies at this point.
No, they pinpointed it. It's like some dark night group that's connected to Palestinian liberation and Ukraine. Apparently.
I didn't know that those two knew each other.
I was gonna say they're bed buddies now.
Apparently. Or I don't know if it's 2 groups, right? But they mentioned this dark night group, and then they mentioned Palestinian shit. I'm not.
So yeah, it's Dark Storm Team claims denial of service attack on X.
Dark Storm.
There you go. Dark Storm King. Yeah.
Team TEAM.
I can understand Ukraine, but I don't know, the guy, maybe West Bank, but not. I don't think Gaza has a network infrastructure to pull off an attack like that. But yeah.
No, but can you look up the Dark Knight group?
I'll check them out.
Yeah, I have it open.
Okay.
I have it open. It says, I'll just read an article. It says, Checkpoint Research, a cyber threat research team, said that Dark Storm Team, a pro-Palestinian cyber attack group known for launching denial of service attacks, has resurfaced after a period of inactivity. The group primarily targets Western entities, including those in the United States, Ukraine, the UAE, and Israel.
Where are they based out of? Lebanon or something?
Well, it doesn't say where they're based out of, but it says they're a pro-Palestinian cyber attack group.
So they could be nationwide. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably distributed across the world, actually.
Or worldwide, I mean. Yeah.
Last Dragon, I love the graphic. Whoa.
Yeah, Jen, you there?
Oh, I was just saying, and then Anonymous is trying to take down Ian Carroll, apparently.
Why? What did Ian say?
He hit every third
Is it
rail
the
he
blue
could possibly
anon?
hit.
He literally took went and grabbed the third rail on every single freaking issue he could on Joe Rogan.
Pretty much.
Epstein files.
I haven't watched Joe Rogan in a while, and that was the first one that I watched the other night. That was a good one.
I guarantee you, Joe Rogan had to have gotten so much crap for that one.
No, Commander, you need to go watch it. Ian, every single thing we've been told that we were not allowed to talk about, Ian went on and just started dropping bombs.
I did see the awesome endorsement that Ian gave to Dustin. So that was special. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was that same episode.
Again, nobody talks about We Build the Wall. Not in that forum.
Did he mention?
Well, I said, that was the first time it was brought up in a big forum like that, large audience. That was a project wasn't shit all over.
Hey, Kim.
Yes, ma'am.
I put that contact list in the Jumbotron.
Yay. All right, so now it's easy peasy for you to call your senators and tell them that you want Dr. Jay Bhattacharya confirmed, as well as is it Mike Macri?
Marty Macri.
Marty Macri. Like Dakery.
A little bit, spelled differently.
That's how I was remembering Macri earlier. So yes, we want to make sure that these guys get confirmed, in the Senate, because RFK Jr. needs them to get to work.
And Kim worked real hard on this list, both the House and the Senate. So yay, Kim.
Yes, they have X
Well,
handle
and we can
links.
also do a space again tomorrow night, because honestly, I feel like people are just having trouble getting in here.
Yes.
Because if you
More the merrier.
I'm just worried because there's not a lot of, well, I guess now it just updated. I don't know what's going on. X is like not working well at the moment.
It's Ukraine. It's the Ukrainians. Remember?
I was getting in through Portugal earlier.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean Portugal?
Oh, they were like,
This
you
is
need a
my
VPN, just
VPN.
log into through Portugal. I'm like, I don't want to have to immigrate in order to use X, okay? Like,
Hey, you made me think of something. I haven't had a chance to track it down. What's going on with TikTok? Did they ever get a new deal in place, or is it still banned, or what's going on?
It's back in action.
Is it permanently
Hey.
back in action, or is it under some kind of government threat?
I think it's in talks. I don't know. Augustus, do you have that the graphic you guys are using with Jay Bhattacharya and
Yeah. You want me to post it?
Yes.
yeah,
please.
if you could, and we'll just put it up in the nest. So then this way, because in addition to calling, you should also go out and comment on your congressman and 2 senators' X accounts, and then you can use the graphic, so it makes it easier.
I'll get you the list that there's the Library U.S. Congress or library. They keep the Twitter list for all of them. So I'll post that.
So I just posted 2 different graphics to the top. One's for Jay Bhattacharya and one's for Marty Macri. Yeah, guys, there's a number attached to it. Definitely call that number, get a hold of your state senators, and let's have a call-a-thon. And there's a script attached to each of them.
U.S. senators.
Yeah, U.S. senators. And so Kelly, the list that I updated this weekend, I put their X handle links in that document.
Oh, you rock, baby. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I also put that list and I linked it into the More You Know page that we have on Substack.
Perfect. Yeah.
So
it's got
Augustus,
the
on
phone
that
number.
list. Yeah. Go ahead, Kim.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, so on that list, you have the phone number, the contact number of your, because you went and pulled them for each one, right?
Correct.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in the Google Drive.
What I did was I just
we have
posted the switchboard.
Yeah. So if they just click up into the Google Drive, we have all of their individual numbers, emails, and X handles all right there. And you just look it up and then you have the direct number.
Great.
All updated with the 119th Congress.
Yay, Kim.
I was bored.
Well, you have our undying appreciation. That's right. Clap away. I don't have any money for you. So
Plus, I didn't want to get all cap messages from Kelly this week. I got on her good side.
No, I do that once and you'll never let me live it down. I was
So
stressed.
Kim, can you change the title of the space? Like get rid of Manic Monday and like put like Maha action space or something like that.
Maybe keep the Manic Monday and just put Maha, whatever Jen just said. Sorry.
I agree.
Right. So I'm going to share it out to all the groups and everything to get more people in here. So I just want to get like all the title and everything all set before we go share it out.
Massive Monday, mega, maha, maga, running out of M words.
All right, I changed it to Maha Call to Action Manic Monday. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to share it out. Thanks.
We were talking about before everybody kind of came in here. I just saw the notice about them retooling the CBP1 app. And then Commander was telling me that they are also offering an incentive that if you self-deport, that you can then you can apply for citizenship. But if they track you down, then no go.
And it is now called CBP Home App.
Brilliant.
So Augustus, you wanted, or Danielle or whoever, do you guys want to tell us a little bit about Jay Bhattacharya and Marty? Just kind of like who they are.
Yeah, I'll let Danielle take that. I'm running errands right now. Danielle, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Yeah, so Jay Bhattacharya is I'm not sure if he's retired off the top of my head or not, but he was an economist for a long time. And I feel like he's way better with the numbers on that side of policy, which I know sounds like a boring thing, but it's actually extremely important in the position that he would be heading up. And I think that's been something that's lacking in current and prior administrations in the NIH. Makery is a surgeon, and I think he has a better understanding of the medical side of things. He's actually got some really good interviews out there. If you go over to YouTube, he might be allowed on YouTube, I'm not sure. But he's got some really good commentary pieces and interviews he's done that I think anybody who takes the time to watch them will be impressed with just his breadth of knowledge on the issue. But yeah, that's the reality is we just need these guys in here. We also are going to be issuing a call to action later this week for Dave Weldon, who we need to get into the CDC. And we've got Dr. Oz coming up not long after him. And I know that's a little bit more controversial. I don't know if anybody wants to weigh in and talk about that today. But he's in a little bit of a league of his own. And I know our community isn't 100% behind him. But perhaps we should discuss that today.
So Dr. Bhattacharya, he was really like one of his things that he's most known for is his critiques of the lockdown measures and his advocacy for alternative public health strategies. So he really was one of the first to be really pushing back against what was going on during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, can you say his name again?
Oh, you heard that, did you?
Go ahead, Augustus.
He was censored because of that too, by the way. But yeah, his name's Jay Bhattacharya.
I said that. I just skipped it a little bit. I did a little R rolling. Bhattacharya.
I'm literally sitting here cracking up in the background, by the way. Go ahead, Kim.
I just, got a little Latin-y there.
I was like, did anybody else catch that?
I knew it. I knew
trill,
you would catch that.
Right? Isn't it called a trill?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was on a conference call earlier with a bunch of Mexicans. What do you want from me?
Yeah, okay. The only one who doesn't speak Spanish at Fox Deportes.
I'm one of two, okay?
It's okay. You're further ahead
Entschuldigen
than
Sie mir
me.
bitte?
Okay, so Kim, you said that he was on the forefront of the lockdown orders and the
He was pushing for alternative health strategies like the ivermectin and the hydrochloroquine, maybe some sunlight. I mean, the fact that vitamin D was something that was good for us during COVID, but they wanted to lock us in our homes, so he was really a crucial part of the resistance, if you will. But so I'm reading what Grok says about him, and so Grok says the criticisms and censorship. It says he faces accusations of promoting misinformation, and his social media presence was reportedly restricted, including being secretly blacklisted on platforms like Twitter, now X, before its acquisition by Elon. Bhattacharya was also a plaintiff in the Supreme Court case of Murthy versus Missouri, where he argued that government collaboration with social media companies to curb COVID-19 misinformation violated free speech rights. And then it says, though the case was ultimately unsuccessful. Stanford investigation. At Stanford, Bhattacharya experienced professional scrutiny, including an investigation into allegations of research misconduct. So they were basically trying to annihilate his career, as they did with so many other doctors that said, hey, wait a minute. Why are we going to throw out everything that we know and take some shot?
Yeah, I just dropped a really good interview with Bhattacharya on the comment thread here if anybody wants to check it out.
we can also play audio for this space, Danielle. If you guys have any videos or anything that you guys want to talk about, even if it's not these two, whatever Maha you guys need us to rally the troops behind. It's usually a little easier when X isn't under a cyber attack. So bear with us here, please.
Yeah, no worries. That's good to know.
And so another thing it says, while Bhattacharya's nomination signals a potential shift in U.S. health policy, it is essential to critically examine his positions beyond the establishment narrative. His critique of lockdowns highlighted real harms, economic devastation, mental health declines, and disrupted education that were often downplayed in mainstream discourse. And then his advocacy for herd immunity, which now we know, of course, what we've always known. It's that it raised valid concerns about feasibility and ethics. And then given the difficulty of isolating vulnerable populations and the potential for high mortality rates. So it's kind of going back and forth about what was being communicated to us versus what he was pushing back on, which he deserves a hat too. It says he was right about everything.
Well, this just seems like somebody that's totally up MAGA's, path, because he was talking about the censorship in particular, which is something that was one of the main talking points during the election.
Dr. Francis Collins and Dr. Anthony Fauci publicly criticized him. So he was going up against them directly.
Well, that's all the endorsement we need. Let's
exactly.
get this guy into office.
Let's go.
And then is it Marjorie? Am I pronouncing that right, Danielle?
Makery. Yeah.
Makery?
Marty Makery.
Okay. Yep. Wait, but his first name is what?
Marty.
Oh, yeah, it is Marty. Okay. So Marty Makery. So Kim, do you want to pull up some information about him? Because I don't think he's as well known as maybe Bhattacharya is.
I'm pulling it up now.
By the way, there is breaking news. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has announced that she has stripped the security clearances of Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Lisa Monaco, Mark Zaid, Norm Eisen, Letta James, Alvin Bragg, Andrew Weissman, and the 51 signatures of the Hunter Biden disinformation. So that's winning.
Oh, that is big, especially the Mary McCord. Or no, she wasn't mentioned, was she? It was Monaco, who's
Lisa
just as bad. But
Monaco.
Mary McCord needs to lose her.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Lisa Monaco. Yeah, but Mary McCord needs to lose hers as well.
she's on the bingo card.
Guys, see Bernie Sanders bugging out. Oh, we can't have an oligarchy. We can't have an we have an oligarchy, you idiot. You clowns have been in charge of it and reaping the rewards. Now that you're getting exposed, you're saying Trump and Elon is the oligarch. No, they're breaking up your oligarchy. Sorry. Sit down.
No, you're fine, Adam.
I wasn't saying sit down to you. I was saying to Bernie Sanders.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, like, I think people are having a lot of trouble getting in the space. I keep getting messages in the back channels that, like, people can't get into the space.
I got through.
You have to update your app.
Only because I'm a pain in the ass.
Update the app, yeah. Or
Man, we asked Elon to keep you out, Philby, but I guess he didn't listen.
That was the first message I got, is that I'm not allowed to join this space. I'm not authorized.
It worked for a time.
Well, if you all don't want me, I'm happy to leave.
Oh, Chris, they're just kidding with you. We can't afford to lose anybody else from this space. There's not many people in here.
Yeah, but to y'all's point, if there was ever an excuse to restructure the U.S. healthcare system, it was the year 2021, and the bastardization of executive authority under former President Biden, assuming that he was the one that was signing executive orders. How dare you talk to the American people from the press room of the White House and tell them that you're running out of patience and that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. It begs, all credulity when you're looking at basic science. And I'm sorry, Dr. Fauci is not science. He doesn't represent science. He represents greed and corruption and the pinnacle of asininity, amongst other things. He's responsible for tens of thousands of deaths with his AIDS vaccine project. He's guilty of cruelty to animals with his beagle farm. Those dogs were located here in Virginia and they were rehomed. And then Francis Collins, is his blow buddy, apparently.
Wait, Fauci has a blow buddy?
Certain rumors.
He didn't get that job, of his own accord, I'm sure. And I don't think Fauci's wife's putting out to an 80-year-old, so he's probably getting a little strange.
Have you seen him pitch a ball?
From the wrong side. And so I digress, but
this is spicy.
Nothing would surprise me. Yeah.
So wait, does Fauci still have his security clearance? Like, is he still currently working, or is he fired?
He's a retiree.
He works for Georgetown now.
He was allowed to retire, and he was part of SES, and he made more money than he was literally the highest paid federal worker at over $400,000 a year. And
Well, and he's also responsible for the censorship, right? That Bhattacharya came out against.
yeah, and one thing that can never happen in this country again is censorship of information when it comes to issues of science and medicine. You had doctors across the country and around the world who had developed their own protocols and their own clinics that were successful repeatedly, duplicatedly in rendering COVID non-existent amongst their patients.
And they weren't even allowed to argue.
And almost to a person, they were using the same basic protocols of either ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine and some form of antibiotic and zinc. And the patients were responsive even when they were in late stages of COVID. And, Fauci convinced President Trump that he needed to use the defense the procurement authorization.
You mean he had to convince Mike Pence?
No, he used the emergency procurement authorization.
But Mike Pence was in charge
the
of
Defense
the
Department.
COVID thing, so that wasn't Trump. Essentially.
Well, Trump had to authorize the conversion of Ford Motor Company over from making automobiles to creating ventilators, and then he shipped ventilators all around the country at the behest of the CDC and.
Sorry, I fat figured, Chris. Don't kill me.
It's all right. I saw it, and these units cost like $15,000 a piece, and the majority of them are now in a warehouse someplace. Most of them unused. In fact, Trump sent hospital ships. This is not. We all don't need this history lesson, but he sent a hospital ship to New York Harbor, and that went pretty much unused. He built a MASH unit in Central Park, and that went essentially unused. And you have over 2,000 unmarked graves in a potter's field on an island in New York of people who died during the pandemic, whether they died of COVID or not. They were loaded into pine boxes and sent over to a potter's field to be buried in mass graves, or a mass grave, maybe two. I'm not sure. There are plenty of pictures of it. And while this island has been used as a potter's field for generations, I don't think anybody had ever imagined that you would see a mass grave like that in modern day America. But apparently the morgues were overrun, and they gave 15 days. 15 days. So if they couldn't notify your family or figure out who you were within 15 days, you got a pine box with a number stamped on the end of it, and you went into a mass grave. And that was in New York City, where they were trying to coerce people with what's the name of the burger chain, Jen?
Shake Shack.
Yeah, Shake Shack burgers and fries. Why?
Listen, that is so cunning, because Shake Shack is so good. Like, they had to pick the best burgers.
The thing that pisses me off about it is that you get burgers and a fry, but you didn't get a fucking milkshake.
You didn't get tallow fries like you can now, thanks to Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get a milkshake, what the hell is good as the burgers and the fries? I mean, if you're gonna sell it, cheap son of a bitch.
Meat spicy
Okay.
Philby.
Well,
They were getting these hospitals were getting upwards of 20 grand a piece for saying that if you got shot on the Empire State Building and fell to your death and you had COVID,
Yep.
your cause of death was COVID.
Yes, sir.
so
They were getting.
So Chris, one of the sorry, who did I interrupt? Okay, Matt, hold on 1 second. So Chris, one of the other things that Danielle brought up that we could talk about potentially in this space is Dr. Oz, because he's going to be coming up as one of the appointees that need to go through the Congress. So we could also talk about Dr. Oz as well.
And I have that information from Grok on Marty Makery. It says that he
Perfect.
is
He's from Johns Hopkins, right?
He's a British American surgeon, professor, author, and medical commentator known for his work at Johns Hopkins University. He holds the position of Mark Ravitch Chair in I hate that word. Entinal surgery.
Gastroenterology.
Yeah, sort of. Surgery at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, and serves as the chief of islet transplant surgery. So he's got quite the resume. He's renowned for pioneering the surgery checklist, a simple protocol developed at Johns Hopkins to improve surgical outcomes by ensuring steps like reviewing the surgical plan are followed. This checklist, popularized by Atul Gawande's book, The Checklist Manifesto, has been credited with reducing errors in operating rooms worldwide. Makery also served in leadership roles at the World Health Organization's Patient Safety Program, emphasizing transparency and safety in healthcare. Makery has been a vocal advocate for addressing systemic issues in U.S. healthcare, particularly the high cost and lack of transparency. His research has exposed practices like hospitals suing patients for unpaid medical bills, often at inflated prices, leading to reforms in states like Virginia. His 2019 book, The Price We Pay, What Broke American Healthcare and How to Fix It, won the 2020 Business Book of the Year award and was praised for its deep dive into into the drivers of healthcare costs and potential solutions. Makery has also been involved in legislative efforts such as transparency and coverage bill, though he was noted that lobbying efforts diluted its impact. So this guy has been out there fighting for transparency in our medical industry, our health industry, for quite some time. Oh, we've got hands. Hi, Matt.
Hey guys, yeah, it's really sickening that what Fauci's and Collins' track record when it comes to their handling of COVID. But that's why we got McCary and Kennedy and all that. And by the way, whenever someone asks my friend Gail Seiler what they did to her. Since she survived the COVID hospital protocols, you know what they sent? You know what they send her? They send them that picture that Philby was mentioning earlier. That spicy Philby, Mr. Spitfire, was mentioning about the Fauci's bagel experiments. Just they send see that photo is what they tried to do to Gail. But so there's that, and there's also the fact that. I love the fact that Tulsi revoked those security clearances. Could have been done sooner, but you know how it goes. But yeah, so is Macquarie, I guess, is up for confirmation this week, I guess, and Dr. Oz is too, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Dr. Oz not yet, but Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and Dr. Marty Makery.
Yeah, so Bhattacharya and Makery on Thursday, the HELP committee will vote on them. That vote will advance them to the Senate floor, which probably won't happen until next week. And And then Dave Weldon for CDC, his confirmation hearing in front of the Health Committee is this week, and so is Dr. Oz's.
And so we're at this point, we haven't, we don't know if anybody's, pushing back or anything like that. So we're just asking everyone to call their senators, and there's a script that's up in the Nest. There's also a Google spreadsheet that's got all of the Congress people's names in it. It's got all the senator names in it. We got 2 different ones. It's got their X handle, their phone number, and a link to their contact information on the website.
Yeah, I haven't heard any specifics. I just know that there's some concern that he's not going to get these kind of guys he needs in his toolkit to really do his job correctly. So we can't really let up the pressure until they're all in, which is probably going to take most of this month.
Well, I will say Dr. Makery definitely has a very common sense approach to things. I mean, the fact that he wrote that surgical checklist, it's just amazing. He also has 300 peer-reviewed articles covering topics such as organizational culture in medicine, surgical innovation, vulnerable populations, and healthcare delivery redesign. His work often challenges medical dogma, as highlighted in his 2024 book, Blind Spots When Medicine Gets It Wrong and What It Means for Our Health. So it seems like he's all about transparency and making sure that we're protected.
Do you guys happen to know where he stood during COVID and stuff like that, or not really?
So it says here that early on he supported, it says support of masking and vaccines. Early in the pandemic, Makery supported universal masking and vaccines for adults, emphasizing their role in controlling the spread of the virus. But then he, changed his position as, we learned more information. He opposed broad vaccine mandates and certain school and university restrictions, arguing that natural immunity offered significant protection. And that was a view that was initially contentious, but later supported by emerging data.
What about, so I did hear, right, and I'm just addressing things that'll probably come up with people, right? I heard WHO in his background. So because I know that President Trump is not supportive of staying in the WHO. Does he have any stance on that?
Who is this?
So this is Marty Makery. He had a leadership role at the World Health Organization on the patient safety program, emphasizing transparency and safety in healthcare. So not everybody that works there is bad.
Never said they were.
Yeah, there are so many people that have had roles there that we never even hear about and would never know unless they came into the spotlight like this. But I definitely recall Makery being pretty critical of the vaccine's harms as well. And he was one of those guys that didn't speak out right away, but he spoke out early enough that he was very much ostracized from the medical community and the mainstream media because he, was willing to go out on that line and say, I think this shot is harming people.
Right. I don't think it's wrong to ask questions, right? These are things that should I'd rather ask now than later, right?
So
exactly.
So Grok says Makery's nomination to the FDA raises broader questions about the balance between innovation and regulation, the role of political ideology in health policy, and the need for robust scientific debate. His past work suggests a commitment to transparency and patient-centered care. But his leadership will be closely scrutinized, especially given the political climate and the influence of figures like Kennedy Jr. I'm going to see what his COVID stance was. So it says early.
Well, I would be more. So it sounds like he was anti-COVID, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no one got it right at the beginning. Everyone was kind of nervous, right? So, like, yeah, as long as he came around, that's cool. But the WHO thing, right? Not everybody that works there is a bad person, obviously, right? But, like, I'm pretty sure, like, don't we want to get out of the WHO and, like, that kind of, like, World Health kind of thing?
Well, the concern is that this is an agency that needs to be restructured from the ground up, because they're not basing their information on medicine and science. They're basing their information on what's coming out of the World Economic Forum and other things that are, based in Switzerland, including themselves. But it's there's nothing wrong with having an agency that is that keeps up with what is going on all around the world. You just cannot have anybody there, especially the person that's ahead of it right now, that is prone to being
taking bribes.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say, being bought. And it's very clear that the functioning part of it in a lot of areas was doing just fine. It's like our CDC. We have people that are in our CDC who are incredible researchers and scientists and doctors, and they do a wonderful job, and they put out lots of reports and information. But they the whoever sits at the top of that is responsible for being the mouthpiece. And when we had the person that was there during the Obama administration, or Biden administration rather, they came out and blatantly lied about their own information that was easily checked with regard to children.
Well, Chris, the reason I bring it up, right, is probably for a lot of our people, right, who haven't really been in the Maha movement, right, which, like, it's okay, right? People probably haven't, like, heard of these people before. Like, they probably heard of Bhattacharya, right? But I probably haven't heard of the other guy, right? So instead of just, like, sitting up here asking people to make phone calls, right, because we're asking them, I just want to, like, flush out the issues of, like, what his stances are, so people feel good about making phone calls for people and not just, like, feeling like it's like a blind thing going on. I hope that's
okay. Do you want breaking news?
Sure.
Ian Carroll has posted that he is pushing his summit back and changing the venue. Details to come, or to steal a line from the Kentucky Fried Movie, film at 11.
Come on, Florida.
Council, I know you've been having trouble jumping in here. I see your hand went up. Let's have you jump in real quick. Can we hear you?
Billy's having a hard time. For some reason on his end, it's telling him he's a speaker and he's talking, but on our end, we don't hear him and he's a listener. So I don't know what's going on there.
Oh, Lord. X is driving.
If anybody's talking to Ian, they might want to suggest that he looks somewhere that's not Boston if he actually got canceled.
Yeah, definitely not Boston.
I put that word into Dustin already. Yeah. I was like, dude, why are we doing Boston? Like, they are more to the left than New York is.
Yeah.
They're more to the left than New York.
Yeah. So Rusty had her hand up, so did Kelly. So.
Okay, go ahead, Rusty. And I see Matt's hand. And Council, hopefully we can get you. Wait, can we hear Council?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
my gosh, we can hear you.
Hey, look at that. I was like talking and I was like, man, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. All right. So, I mean, I had so many things to say at 4 different points. So I'll just refresh a little bit to let everybody know where I came from and what Danielle's been doing. So probably a lot of you guys don't know who we are. Danielle and I both worked on the campaign for Bobby from volunteering August, September, October of 2023, and then getting hired on November. I was started off as a volunteer and came up as the advanced director. So the reason why we're sitting here as the Council on Domestic Relations is because Danielle and I got to work on the campaign, and I got to travel the country and help produce every event you saw from November through May of last year, and working on some of the events you saw in June of last year. During that time, we met a lot of people, both left and right, Dino, Rhino, Independent, Federalist, Libertarian, name it, agnostic, not wanting anything to do with it, getting up like me. I'm a non-politics guy. I'd never wanted to be in politics, but in COVID, watching what was going on, I just got up and said, I'm going to go work with Mr. Kennedy on some way or another, and found myself on the core team producing all of his events and handling security and advancing every event, and then ultimately working on marketing and strategically working on fundraising, grassroots, pretty much with every department with Danielle. So we cut our teeth. Danielle's been cutting her teeth in this space for over 20 years with an injured child. She runs Informed Choice Maryland. And on the campaign, there was a bunch of non-doers and doers. People like Augustus I met on the campaign, his fiance Stephanie, Danielle, me. Bunch of these people like us, we just worked 80 hours a week, and it was just nonstop delivering. Why we ended up starting the Council on Domestic Relations and continuing this is because we saw and still see a complete disconnect from what the movement needs and what the states need to what's actually happening and what's reverberating through, particularly at this point, the left. The right seems to be a lot more open to what we're saying, but everything we've been talking about on this space, if you really think about it, we can go over all the data and what Bhattacharya or Makery have done and where they've come from. But to me, the biggest issue that we currently have is right now we're in a bubble, right? So this bubble has 50, 100,000 people listening, and we all are reiterating some of the things that we know. Fauci should be in prison. 17 million people, somewhere between 1 million and 17 million people across the planet probably died. Those are data points. But what we're still kind of really fighting is this state level where the action actually happens. So part of the reason why we're here is obviously to confirm Bhattacharya and Makery, but then this extends to the next appointments. Then this extends to the Amish family in New York City, the school that's being fined $108,000 for not force vaccinating their kids. These are fundamental issues that we have to address. At the same time, we've lost our freedom to speak about it. And we've lost some of our leaders in the space to being, exiled. And so now we're dealing with what appears to be a cult-like following on the left of what Eisenhower warned us of, which is the scientific elite. I'm going to say that I'm sorry, you're going to hear me on spaces over and over again. I read a lot, and I've been doing that quite a bit. I listen to speeches. I grew up listening to debates with lawyers in my family. And understanding the best way to figure it out is to prove the other side right. You don't prove the other side wrong, because you're going to get in your own quadrant, in your own side, and deliver what could be wrong information. So debate and lawyer style is what we need to do here. And what we're battling is, these military industrial complex, banking industrial complex, foodstuffs industrial complex, pharma industrial complex systems that are wreaking havoc on us in a number of ways. So I consider that assault on our freedom of speech with facts that are now poised as real. I mean, if you really look at your Facebook feed and you haven't deleted all the people that have alternative views or the other side, which I believe are wrong, they're just spewing information that is completely false. Like, there are no deaths from COVID. It's one of the safest vaccines ever. Like, this is something that is thought to be true on the left. On top of that, you have what appears to be a internet that has now deleted most of the information I could find over the last 20 years on these topics. It's just systematic. You cannot search and find any of the reports. For example, the CDC saying VAERS is underreported. I used to be able to find it pretty quickly. Now, I don't think I can find it anymore. It's still out there. You can still get it, but there is no way to get to this data. It's being systematically removed, hidden, obfuscated, rolled under, tucked under, eliminated, deleted, depleted from our overall knowledge and understanding of what's actually going on. Like the Mandela effect. We're sitting here, wait a second, and some people are questioning ourselves because the data is disappearing. So I say all that to kind of introduce ourselves, why we're here. I've gone through and followed all of you. Some of you, I think there's some issues and I couldn't follow you, but I'm up there at the top. Council on Domestic Relations. We're just USCODR. For other people listening, you can go to x.com/USCODR. That's United States Council on Domestic Relations. And our goal is to put together councils to go over these issues and focus specifically on making the change at state level with grassroots organizations, with clapbacks to our governmental organizations, other NGOs, the funders that can actually make it happen, while paying real close attention to the people that are affected. And by that I mean, like, if we're getting Bobby in, so he's the head here. He's our general. These next two, Makari and Bhattacharya, are his left hand and his right hand. This triumphant is very important for this next step. So I'm going to ask all of you to forward these graphics. I mean, what ended up happening on the last phase is we cut through the mustard, but we didn't cut through the clouds. And I've been consulting with brands, bands, and entities for a long time. And ultimately, what we want to do is coordinate efforts so that next week, when all this goes down on a certain day at a certain time, thousands, if not millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people are seeing the graphic and getting a call to action. Because if we get 100,000, 10,000 is 10%, 1,000 is 1%. That means probably 3,000 to 5,000 people will make the call. We need to see these grandiose numbers on our side delivered so we can counterbalance the negative energy coming from small groups of people. It's been said before and pointed out, and it's quite frankly the truth, that very small groups of people, some of them with high-placed pockets, can dictate what we talk about. But the power lies in all of us together, collectively, actually being able to dictate what we talk about and what we do. So our goal is back down to the people that are actually affected by this legislation and these laws and our freedom of speech going away and mandated vaccines. There's people that are affected. And right now, what I saw in the campaign and what I witnessed, and being only 2 years into politics, I'm an event guy, and a serial entrepreneur working at startups like XM Satellite Radio and advertising.com early on. But I'm witnessing, a disconnect between the larger companies doing this, the larger organizations taking in the money, and the state organizations getting the help they need and the notoriety they deserve from the work that they've done over the past, sometimes 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and sometimes decades, like Danielle and her organization, Informed Choice Maryland. And so that's our biggest agenda here. Our biggest agenda is to turn on a dime weekly, collectively have a voice, figure out what the things that we're working on are, and then cast a light on those weekly, moving as fast as we can, because the small guy can sometimes be a little bit more nimble when the big guys are focusing on their brand new $30,000 a month office space, and they can just continue looking like kings while we're down here actually trying to get the stuff done. So that's our goal. Getting back down to the state level, getting back down to the organizations that are making a difference, figuring out what they actually need, and getting a clap back from where the rubber meets the road, where the transaction happens, where the hand is in the glove, and figure out what those needs are, figure out what the wants are, and figure out how as a collective we can begin to deliver that to the state level organizations.
Phew, that was a
Thanks for
mouthful.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any questions? I love questions. Anybody have any questions? I see Rusty's got a question there.
Well, actually, it was just kind of a statement. It took me like 4 times to get this space, super important space. And council, I'm glad I got to hear you. I just followed you. So I just retweeted the space and told everybody it took me 4 times to get in. Maha, very important. Keep trying. Just FYI, that's all I wanted to say. But thank you so much, and I'll just keep listening. You gave a lot of information there, Council. Thank you.
Thank you. And my name is Billy Zero. I'm an old radio guy, HFS and PGC, CBS Infinity back in the 90s, XM Satellite Radio. I'm the guy who started the Unsigned channel with Pat Denizio and did program director for XMU for 4 years. And then went on to, grow my own brands and events and my own nonprofit and do a bunch of work in my state. And it wasn't until COVID that I stepped up and was like, wait a second, this is not okay, which would probably happen to a lot of us. We just started using our brains, which I think is not happening for a percentage of the company. And we have to figure out, I know some people are like, screw those people. We don't need to talk to those people, but I consider people on the left to be people that have just grown up in the wrong environment with the wrong upbringing and the wrong information. And now they're in a bubble that needs to be popped. So we owe it to them to try to pop that bubble through every way that we can, regardless. And we have to do it with class. And we have to do it with data. And we have to do it with information. And we have to do it with kindness. And we have to come back and be the adults in the room.
Happy warriors.
And that is some, we have to be happy little warriors. What, we can turn on a dime if need be.
You have to give people a path back to, path back to good. You have to give grace and patience. And that's just the way we've got to do it.
Except if they're in Congress.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about anybody in the government.
Well, okay, but so Council, I don't know how familiar you are with America Mission, but we have a bunch of stuff that I think we could definitely come together on. Dustin Stockton and I formed America Mission, what came about like 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
2.5.
Yeah, and it totally came from Spaces. So we started doing Spaces after being deplatformed and like pretty much dehumanized. And we kept getting the question of, well, we know all these problems. Great, you told us about it, but what can we do about it? So us at America Mission kind of answered that question of what can we do about it. So we had a lot of success around the speakers race and stopping the Digital Platform Commission Act. And a couple others, some state legislation as well, where we were able to facilitate calls, emails, interactions on social media to get a hold of your member of Congress or your elected representative to kind of have a say in that. And what we found out is where we thought it would take hundreds of thousands of people calling these offices, it helps, but even just them getting maybe 100 calls, right? It really makes a huge difference. And we saw that with the speakers race when we were having people call, and I think we were able to facilitate like hundreds of thousands of calls just out of Spaces. And the Congress people were actually coming into the space to tell us to keep it up, that what we were doing is working. And we realized how impactful those phone calls and actually tagging them in social media actually is. So that's why I kept bringing up no, you in addition to your calls, make sure you're using X and other social medias to tag them, because a lot of them have it on their phone, right? And all of a sudden their phone's blowing up, and it makes them have to pay attention to some of this stuff. So we have created America Mission. It's great. I could go in. Everybody here pretty much knows about it, but we can talk in the back channels about it. But we would love to help you guys out as much as we can.
I love that. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Billy was really talking about is I think a lot of the people who woke up during COVID, a lot of the time they don't even know that kind of a medical freedom community existed before then. And so there's just this huge foundation of grassroots organizations that have been censored longer than people knew things were being censored. And so you don't know about them. They won't come up when you Google them. They don't come up when you look for them on your social media channels, but they exist. And we really want to help people connect with those groups in their states and kind of take back some of that power that a lot of the larger organizations funneling a lot of the money away from these grassroots orgs in the medical freedom movement are kind of keeping them behind blinders. And we don't feel that that's the best way to really reach the goal here, because the goal shouldn't be, wealth. It should be our health. And so I just wanted to kind of iterate that and let people know that we're going to be linking them wherever possible with those grassroots orgs. We don't necessarily need to always be the funnel. We want to help grow awareness that they exist, and it won't always be central to just medical freedom. Maybe once in a while there's something like, raw milk, or the attack on an Amish farmer like we just saw happen in Pennsylvania, or like Billy said, there's the measles thing with the Amish going on in New York right now. It's very similar to what happened to them in 2019. So sometimes there'll be an effort like that where we can really pump out the awareness for this through all of us, and it's not an issue that's centralized to that state. It's something that we can get people mobilized and calling from all over the country. And what you said, Jen, is exactly right. It really doesn't take a ton of people. It takes a small, significant number, but once you barrel down on them, they think that that's the sample population, and they understand that now is not the time to ruffle those feathers, and they usually drop their issues. So we can be effective together.
It's so fun to make them melt down.
Well, it's actually really insidious, right? So Dustin and I've worked in politics for over a decade, right? And going out of like 2010, 2012, like that period, right? We were pretty much told like, oh, okay, yeah, like, calling the offices don't really work, right? They don't really pay attention to it, right? Like we were always told like, yeah, you could have people call, but does it really work, right? And we were under the notion like, okay, we can have people call, but then we actually started doing it in spaces right during the speakers race. And we were like, wait a second, y'all lied to us. Y'all lied to us because you didn't want the phone calls in your offices. You didn't want your office phone shutting down for the day because there's so many calls coming in that you can't function normally for regular business. Right. So it's been kind of this like thing where like, even the people in DC were like trying to tamper down the grassroots by even the tools we had available were being like told to us like, oh, they don't work. And it's like, no, actually they did. And now we're going to abuse the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I want to take a second and say hello to those people that are listening on X Live, QX TV, Rumble Video. I can't remember if YouTube and pill.net were also on there. Kelly can jump in there and correct me, but welcome everyone that is listening. Also, we'd ask that you please retweet, repost the space, get more people in here. The only way we're going to get the word out about these individuals and next week is if we get more people in here. So thank you.
Also, visit americamission.com. We got some really great stuff out there. We've got all of our articles for the Faces of Tyranny, Faces of Intrepidity, as well as our daily mission that Miss Kelly puts out all the time. And it's got really just a plethora of information in it. It's got great spaces that you may have missed. So check it out. And if you like what you're hearing, go up to the flag in the left-hand corner that I'm speaking out of and go to our page and subscribe for $2 a month.
Sweet. And also, Billy and Danielle, we are Commander just pointed out, we are simulcasting to all of those other platforms too. So it's not just the people in the room. There are people on the streams that are watching it. So if you're on the streams, make sure that Kelly, I don't know how.
She's put the documents out there so they can grab them.
Okay, perfect. So make sure you guys are also calling your representatives and telling them to approve Jay Bhattacharya and, oh Lord, this Marty
Makery.
Marty Makery.
Marty Makery.
Like bakery.
Because Dustin the other day in the space was like, it's
Mackery.
Was Mackery like daiquiri. So I kept calling the guy Mackery. I'm like, oh, man, this is so embarrassing.
I feel like it should be some kind of nursery rhyme. His name. It's like a riddle.
Well, I've been reading up,
right? Like
I've been reading up more on him, and it looks like he is just a huge proponent of transparency and garnering trust, the American public's trust again. That's something that really is going to have to be delicately, fostered.
He's got a big job ahead of him on that.
Exactly.
While Billy was when he first introduced himself, I noticed a story that was posted that they underreported in Michigan by about 42% the number of elderly that died when Whitmer put all the elderly and the sick people with COVID into the homes. They're up to over 14,000 people just in the state of Michigan that they think have died from Whitmer's policies. So we have to get these people in to NIH and CDC and other places under Kennedy.
Criminal.
Quickly.
That's criminal.
They incentivize genocide.
On your taxpayer dollar.
Yeah, didn't we provide the seed money for that vaccine? Where's our profits?
Dude, we provided the seed money for the vaccine. We provided the seed money to create the disease. We probably provided the seed money to release the disease. Like, this was an America thing. And Mr. Lilly, okay, so guys, listen. X is freaking out right now. If you don't know, there is a DDoS attack, and people are getting messages that they've never seen before, like they are not authorized to access the space. Obviously, that is an error message. So if you're getting that message, A, make sure that your app is up to date, and B, blame it on the hackers that are currently attacking X. We can't help that. So we can't really see hands. So if just let us know if your hand's been up a while and we're not seeing it. We're not ignoring you.
Matt's had his hand up for a while. So why don't we go to Matt, and then we have a new speaker, Susan. We could go to her.
And Mr. Lilly.
Yeah, I had my hand up for a while. I just, I'll wait. I'm very patient,
It's good to see you. All right, we'll go to Matt, and then we'll come back to you.
Just bear with us. We're trying.
This is why these spaces are so important, because I love what you guys were saying about how y'all found out during the speakers race about how hey we can actually our phone calls actually work. Yeah they do, and of course the people who told you they didn't were just trying to gaslight you and gatekeep you from actually doing the stuff that y'all did, because let's be honest, they didn't want to be bothered, right? They did not want y'all to then set the precedent of we can get a bunch of phone calls going and shut down the lines at the switchboard at the Capitol. That we can actually do that. Yeah, heck yeah, we can, and we're gonna keep doing it. So keep this up. These type of spaces are important, guys. So we use those resources that are up in the nest. And by the way, yes, please share and repost the space. Make sure you quote post it so it shows up in people's For You feeds. Had to hit Miss Sally for that one, who's there in the audience.
Yes, please do that, because of the issues that X is having today, it has been a real challenge. So quote posting would definitely help with the visibility. Go ahead, Lily.
Mr. Lilly.
Sorry, guys. I used to be in the Marine Corps, so you guys were talking about quote posting and do this and do that. So I'm over here trying to do it, and there's 50 things to do. Because I want to make sure you guys get the visibility that you deserve. Because in honesty, that's what I am. I'm a promoter. So when I saw the space and it said call to action Mondays, I was like, fuck, I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Excuse my French, because I decided, because I have to apologize because I got to reintroduce myself to you guys. I'm Mr. Lilly, used to be in the Marine Corps. I was in 5 years at 3rd Battalion 7 Marines, was been out since 2015. I had some ups and downs, some loves and some loss between then and there. But then COVID came along and kind of really shit on everything. Excuse my French. And so basically, I was a car salesman at the time, and things were ups and downs. And I tried to kind of, that's around the time I started getting on X, and I, met all of you. I met I met you guys through X, I guess. And you guys are some pretty great people, man. It made me believe that I could start something myself. And so, I was trying to start my own business, with small business consulting, and it's called World Peace Lily LLC. And I've learned lately that I have to talk to people very concisely and get them to understand what the mission is that you guys are right. you can't rely on the president. You can't rely on Elon Musk. Like they are only components to the mission, right? So we all have to kind of do our part. Like we all have to find our niche and figure out exactly what we're into. Like some of you guys are into crypto. Some of you guys are reporting the news. Some of you guys are, doing this and that and doing videos and making, Dogecoins and doing all these things that are adding to our own brand of economy, because the left or I wouldn't even say left and right anymore, because in reality there's the evil and there's the good, there's the dark force, there's the light force, the divine, and there's the evil. And one thing I can tell you is that things are starting to happen, and like we finally have a safe space for ourselves, for conservatives, for independent thinkers, and like I'm not gonna lie, like I felt when President Trump won, everybody kind of took a deep breath and was like, holy shit, we can probably try to save ourselves now. But it's up to us to start doing it. And like I'm in San Diego, and like I don't give a shit, I'll tell you where I'm at. Like I'm in San Diego over here in North Park, and I've been trying to like represent artists, because like I believe each one of us have to take a different sector. Like some of us have to take the entertainment sector, some of us have to take the politics sector, because the propagandizement has been so fucking rampant that people are literally walking around scared. Nobody says good morning to each other anymore. Nobody says hello to each other anymore. Everybody's stuck in their phones because they made us sit in our fucking houses for months on end, and people like grew social anxiety disorder. People don't go out anymore. People don't go smell the grass and touch the grass. Some people do. But us people who do that, we look at the other people like zombies. And I just wanted to just say, I got a lot of more to say, but like, I just wanted to say what's up to you guys. It's been a while. I've been trying to get back into these spaces, back into the groove, and trying to do something, man. Because like my business is really like whatever you're into, as long as you like, I work on contingency. Like if you're not making any money, give me a favor. But if you're making some money, pay me some money, and I'll do whatever you want me to do. But yeah, it's Mr. Lily. I'll be here chilling. I'm just kind of smoking and chilling right now, thinking about mission and business.
I love it.
How about Susan? And then, well, it looks like Doc might have jumped down again. But breaking news, Maha News, Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to be on Fox News at 9 p.m. with an interview with Sean Hannity.
Hopefully, excuse me, hopefully Hannity will let him talk, because he keeps interrupting. Anyway, I was thinking about the saying about Michigan, 14,000, maybe more, maybe many, many, many more. And then Cuomo in New York, I don't know, they had 29,000. I don't know, they had a lot. I wonder, this is just me, maybe Doe should do a cross-reference of these names of all these elderly people that died during COVID, and check out USAID and where that money went with Social Security. Just saying.
That's a great idea, Susan. I like it.
I'm thinking maybe they killed him on purpose, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah, all those people who died of COVID. First of all, they died of the hospital protocols and the drugs and all that.
Wait, where'd Doc go?
He dropped. He's on a limited timeline, I guess.
Sorry, had a call.
Is that my favorite New Jerseyite, soon to be Texan, JP?
You know it, baby. What's up, America Mission? How you doing today?
There we go.
We are doing
Needed
awesome.
a little
How
energy.
are you doing? When are you gonna finish your move?
It's gonna. We still haven't listed the house. We got some fixing up to do, but it'll be soon. We're gonna do a spring sale here, so it's coming. But in the meantime, liberal tears are my adrenochrome, and I love it every day. I'm living on liberal tears. It's just amazing.
You must have a lot of pep in your step then.
Oh yeah, well, hear me out now. I'm up in the troll game, guys, and I think we should have fun with this because you got to have fun. I know you, Kim, you mentioned being a happy warrior earlier. Part of being a happy warrior is having fun doing it. So my latest plot is to take out a classified ad in a local paper advertising $20 an hour cash to protest the local Tesla dealership. And I want to direct people to show up at a certain place and certain time to organize the protest. And then I'm kind of thinking about what I should do from that point. Should I have a sign that says, sorry, as a result of USAID funds being withdrawn, we no longer have the cash to pay you today, and just videotape it from afar? I don't know. Or get them to sign a petition so I know their names and addresses and phone numbers. I don't know. I'm going to get silly with it. It's just fun
JP,
stuff for me.
How about sorry, Bernie Sanders needed a new mansion, so we diverted the funds there.
There could be multiple signs. There could be a giant blow up of Donald Trump saying you're fired. I don't know. I'm going to have fun with it. I used to, have fun going like hunting and stuff, but now it's just a different game. So I'm just going to have fun with it.
I mean, you did roll around DC in a 2001 Honda Civic.
With Hunter Biden smoking crack pipe.
Yep. And with Dustin yelling through the loudspeaker that you are ruled by perverts and thieves. Citizens of the capital city, wake up. You are ruled by perverts and scoundrels. And every cop was looking at us and diverting us. And it was, I thought I was going to get arrested that day. But there's nothing illegal about placing a classified ad and offering people cash to go protest the Tesla dealership. I think it's a good way to identify the people in my town who would come out for something like that. And it's a public service as far as I'm concerned.
And then you should give them an address of some local politician that you want to troll.
I was
Why
thinking.
Why don't you just give out the address of the police station?
That way they could book themselves.
That's actually hilarious.
JP, I need some help. I'm thinking about, Norm Eisen and Jennifer Rubin and this group called Indivisible is paying people to go into Republican members of Congress during the recess to go into their town halls and to act like they're conservative and Republicans. I was going to go, and if someone started speaking up and it seemed like they were from this, they were actually part of this Indivisible group, I was going to say, I'm a Democrat and I work for Norm Eisen and he's one of my guys or something. We got to figure out a way to counteract these crazy Norm Eisen people that are going to show up and pretend that they're asking questions, pretend to be Republican when they're not.
I don't think you're going to get as much of a turnout because the funding has been cut off. I feel like we're not going to see as many of the protests.
Jen, did you see my post down below about Norm Eisen?
Yeah, Eisen said he's been working there 8 years. So that means the 2020 election.
Sorry, Susan.
Commander, you're roboting. Sorry, Susan. I don't think he could hear you.
Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, no, I just want to, I posted it in the bubble about Donald Trump's truth that he put out just a few minutes ago about getting rid of all the security clearances, especially Norm Eisen. I posted it down below.
I'll have to check it out. I did just see that actually. So Maha, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be on Hannity's show tonight, doing a sit down interview with Hannity. So that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I need more Maha in my life. We got to see, I know Trump has only been in office like 6 weeks, but I'm getting that itch now. I want to see some perp walks. I want to see some more stuff. We're also spoiled, I think, because there's been executive orders every day. At some point, I think we need to realize that this stuff isn't going to happen as quick as we would always like it to happen. Cash and Bondi need to build their cases a little bit. So I'm anxious. Every day I wake up, I'm like, what did Santa bring me today? What did Santa Trump bring me today?
So, according to Diligent, Elon Musk just said that the IP addresses from today's DDoS attack on X were mostly Ukrainian.
That little
Nailed
twerp.
it.
He doesn't know who he's messing with. He better really be careful.
These
Who,
same
Cokehead
people.
Zelensky?
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. Yeah, Cokehead Zelensky.
These same people that have been attacking and reporting our spaces, all that crap, messing with our elections,
If they want us to play the interview with Jay that's on YouTube, I put it in the back channel, Kim. If you want to play it.
Yeah, let's do that. Where'd JP go?
I'm right
JP
here.
left.
No, I'm right
you're
here.
there.
Yep.
Oh, okay. It shows you as a listener for me.
Me too.
So weird.
Yeah, spaces have been crazy today. Couldn't get in here for a while. I tried like 4 times. It said space unavailable.
They're just trying to keep us down.
I tried getting in twice and finally got in after the first time. I had no idea till I actually saw Sally post about the DDoS attack.
So, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is canceling over 400 DEI and environmental justice grants totaling $1.7 billion.
I wonder what he's going to do with that whole criminal arm that has more artillery than most of our military units. So that'll be interesting.
Dude, Elon's doing a sit-down interview right now with Kudlow.
Who's Kudlow?
And that's where they're getting it. Elon, there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down X with IP addresses originating in the Ukrainian area.
Makes you think Ukraine is trying to get back at us for at the Trump administration for trying to end the war on Ukraine. Somebody in Ukraine doesn't want this war to end.
Yeah, but they're like whoever did it was smart, right? Because okay, so you attack a bunch of government like stuff, that doesn't make a difference. But if you take down X and none of us can communicate and get the message out,
I think it was Canada. I think you can spoof an IP address, can't you?
Yeah, you can, but you have VPNs and things like that. But it's if you're
Canadians aren't that
good enough,
motivated.
you could trace it back. You go through the hops and trace it back to the root. So yeah, even your VPN isn't.
By the way, did you see where
it could be tracked if the CIA wants to know or NSA wants to know who you are and you're trying to use a VPN, they'll find out who you are. Trust me.
Correct.
Here's my take on the Ukraine and Trump situation. I think it's a negotiating tactic like it usually is with Trump. Look at how he threatened to have the U.S. take over Gaza. And all of a sudden, miraculously, within hours, all the Muslim neighbors came up with $53 billion to rebuild Gaza. I think that this Ukrainian situation is a perfect method for Trump to force the EU nations to start to contribute much more significantly to NATO. This will force their hand in that regard. And then in the end, we're still going to have a negotiated peace with Russia. So just watch for the incremental steps that Trump takes in the negotiation.
Getting back to the Ukraine situation, though, who in Ukraine would not want us to be able to communicate? Like, do we know of
Zelensky?
Zelensky. See,
not Zelensky. The people behind it, Zelensky, his handlers.
Yeah, he's saying specifically in Ukraine. Like, do you Matt? Do you not think Zelensky is like pissed off at Trump and the United States?
He got
right now?
spanked on TV.
He has to. He's only coming back to the table because he has to, and he'd be a total laughingstock and embarrassment on the world stage. I mean, this dude's an actor, so I gotta believe Zelensky cares about his image on the world stage to some degree. So of course he's gonna do a bait and switch. Come back to the table. Meanwhile, somebody under him or somebody in the Ukrainian government is trying to make it where we can't communicate and talk about this. Yeah, total boss move there, but.
Oh, so earlier I had saw like when we first opened up the space, that Zelensky actually just penned a letter to President Trump apologizing for what happened. So you're telling me they deliver a letter and simultaneously your hackers are trying to take down X? That seems a little disingenuous.
It makes the letter seem disingenuous for sure.
Who went out there recently?
Who has the most money to make in this situation?
Zelensky.
Well, military industrial complex.
There you go. That's the answer.
Hey guys, this has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
I mean,
This is
it's
what I
the
was going
same
to say
reason.
is, remember who went out there to meet with the UN and all these people and Zelensky, Susan Rice, Victoria,
Chucky Schumer.
Yeah, Schumer, these people that went out there. This is who's behind the attacks, essentially. They're using Ukraine.
When I say Zelensky,
Zelensky's a toy.
I think no. Can you let me finish? I think Zelensky is just a proxy of the United States. He works at the behest of people like Victoria Nuland and all of them. Like he is their puppet.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Right. So when you say Zelensky, right, like instead of having to like lay out the foreign policy every time, like it's easier just to like.
And these people are so
arrogant
arrogant that they think they still work for our, for the government, and they are violating the Logan Act for sure.
Well, all their security clearances are gone, all of them.
That's why they're out there in Ukraine, pushing their stuff. That's what they do. They attack us from abroad.
Feel free to move there. They should definitely move there.
I'm with it. Front line. Go for it.
I think what we're witnessing here is the industrial complexes in a final push for resources. I think it becomes very evident when you step back 25, even 35, 40 years. And this becomes part of why I got up. I mean, we're printing money that's not backed by anything. And if you really follow it across this planet, what China is doing and what the United States is doing through debt infrastructure obligation, you can call it a bunch of different things, but our governments, like what we did in Ukraine, I mean, both United States presidents have basically, on some level, taken all of the most tangible, valid resources. Where you've got the Democratic Republic of Congo, you've got Syria, you've got Haiti. There's real atrocities, real people being killed, real things going on. And we're not going there. We're not going there because there are no resources. So when you have these questions, we can go down to the conspiracy side of it and some of the minute ways of looking this, or you can kind of climb up on a hill and get a lay of the land. And what I see is happening right now for the past 25 years is a systematic overtaking of all of the valuable resources while they're dishing to us the things that are unvaluable, that have no value, which is the American dollar, a lease, a mortgage that can be taken over, a health system that doesn't actually make you healthy, a food system that doesn't make you doesn't make you healthy. You have no equity in your government. You have no real equity in your community. And they're trying to remove all of the valuable things from us in exchange for just a lease on life. We've got to get rid of that aspect of this. I think that's ultimately what Danielle and I are trying to do. I know we've been going a long time. I know Danielle and I both have to jump here in a few minutes for another meeting at the top of the hour. But I wanted to reiterate to everybody, who we are and what we're doing, and make sure that that everybody understands we're not stepping on toes. There's 4 of us on the front lines here, and another 4 of us on the back end for the Council on Domestic Relations, and we're bringing in a number of council members that are, well known in their industries and what they do to speak and help. So I want everybody here to know that we're here for the clapback. We're here for a call. We're here for spaces. We're here to figure out what's going on at the grassroots level and what needs to be done, in hopes that the people that we've met, Danielle in her 20 years, me in my event, and working with Kennedy on the campaign, and the other people we know and their extended network, that we can quickly make things happen. And that's going to be the goal for Coder, which is Council on Domestic Relations. For those tuning in elsewhere, if you can go to x.com/USCODR, that stands for United States Council on Domestic Relations. We are a states' rights think tank. Our goal is to revert back down to states' rights. This is what our founding fathers wanted. I urge you all to read the Federalist Papers. They're quite impressive. They knew exactly what they were doing. I think they probably know more so than a lot of our leaders today what they were doing. Some of our leaders today don't understand even what they had in mind. I just want to reiterate that we're having a lot taken from us in ways that we don't even understand, and we have to figure out a way not only to get our health and food freedom back, but also our freedom to do business and exchange and barter and work together and think together and exchange thoughts and have freedom of commerce. And that's quickly being revoked from us. So yeah, just wanted to chime that in.
And that's
Billy,
exactly
we'd
what
love
they
to-
wanted. Sorry, Kim.
I was going to say we would love to have you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We have our civics on Spaces. So you're more than welcome to come in and we can, talk about, what you guys are doing there as well.
That's awesome. Well, if anybody has any questions for us, you can raise your hand. I know the Mr. Lilly show. Mr. Lilly got a question. If there's anybody else, I can stay on for a few more minutes. I know Danielle can as well. So,
yeah, bro. I honestly just want to say that I really resonate with everything you just said. Like, especially when you were talking about they just want us to have a lease on life. Like I've been saying, like they're trying to get us to subscribe to everything. Like if you think about how many subscriptions you have and like how everything is so expensive and how you can't even go enjoy shows or you can't be social anymore because everything has become corporatized. Like there's no competition within the, small business, frame anymore because there's some small businesses out there, but they've been resigned to small little back rooms and stuff. And, just to kind of swing back around when you guys were talking about Ukraine, like I always tell people, like exactly like you said, is to follow the money, man. Like who is designed to make the most, and it is a military-industrial complex because the whole Hunter Biden laptop situation was designed to throw us off of the smell of him being appointed on that council for Burisma. And like I'm not like you guys are a lot way smarter than me on that kind of stuff, but like I at least as an average Joe can see the shit, and I can at least see like okay, why did he have that prosecutor thrown out? And was that not influence peddling? Was that not the same thing they tried to impeach Trump for back in the day when he said, yo, hey, man, this dude did something illegal. Tell me about it, basically in layman's terms. And so when you actually start to think about these particular things like who's buying up the real estate over there, like BlackRock, Vanguard, all these fucking large corporations that, if you boil it down, kind of fucking own everything, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing is trying to like start like little small business consulting and like we're just working with people. 'Cause I'm in San Diego, man. Like literally I said, you fucking pay me to do stuff. I know how to do a lot of things. I used to be in the Marine Corps. I used to be a car salesman. Right now I'm like promoting artists and, just doing whatever the fuck I can to try to get the message out there of conscious capitalism. Because what you're talking about right now is literally what I'm trying to do with people and trying to get people to wake up. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to say I appreciate meeting you. And if you go by counsel, I'll call you the counsel.
Well, my name is Billy Zero. That's my radio name. It just kind of stuck, so no one knows William Gallagher.
Billy
Z. Billy Zero. So most people just call me Billy Zero. The organization is the Council on Domestic Relations, Coder for short. And Danielle is my co-founder. We met on the campaign and just when you're around someone who's just doing it so hard, you just kind of get motivated. And I think we both just kind of stuck with it. She was at state level. And I think just from 4 months of conversation, this just came about as, just kind of fell in that this is what's needed. We need to connect some dots and try to figure out how to make a difference at the grassroots level.
Yeah, because I do a little radio stuff, man. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. Like I was out there in the desert and I don't know if you know where a place called Palm Springs is, but there's a radio station out there called KWXY where I was doing the kind of like the interning. So I was basically doing all the pitch work at first, but then eventually, from my background in sales, car sales, they said, you know, you want to do the radio ads and sales directing. So I started doing that. But the owner kind of like was, you know, kind of, I don't want to talk shit, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, basically everything kind of, you know, fell apart. And then, you know, me and another guy who was the radio manager there, he's going to start his own little thing. So if you ever need any help, bud, just let me know.
That's great, man. Thank you so much for the kind words, and I appreciate it. Now you go by Mr. Lilly, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for the kind words, and I do look forward to crossing paths with you in person on some event or something we're working with on state level. Or
I'm in
your
San
ventures.
Diego, man. Like I'm in San Diego and North Park, and I travel all over California just fucking doing cool shit. So let me know.
There you go.
Billy, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Yo, so how can people get involved? Like, is there any way? Like, what do you need now for Coder to really flourish?
So
do you need money? Can people donate? Do you need volunteers? Can people volunteer? What do you need to get this shit off the ground, up and running at full speed?
Yeah, we definitely are going to be looking for cash, but I mean, I've had a spiritual awakening, so awakening, and the capitalist side of the movement is the part that I have troubles with, especially when I see it going to certain individuals and not to the actual people doing the work. When I started my nonprofit, I never took a dime. I just donated to it and never paid myself because I couldn't take a dime while there was kids around me that their parents couldn't afford insurance or couldn't afford toys. So obviously, to do what we're going to do on that level, we are going to need some money. Right now, I think what we're kind of staying behind the scenes. If you're an activist and you want to actually get out of your house and go do things at street level, shoe leather type stuff, door knocking type stuff, get on Capitol Hill, go out in your local communities. You can go to the website. The website's going to be easier for us because we're going to be doing a couple things there. So that's just uscoder.org, uscodr.org. Not everybody has to go there. We can keep this all social. We can keep this all here across our socials and get the word out. What we're really doing kind of behind the scenes, we look at this like O to O. We're organization to organization, and we're really trying to help the organizations help their people. Not that we don't want to help Mr. Lilly or everybody else that's doing stuff. That's totally where Danielle and I got our start, was just, oh, you need help. Okay, you want to learn about home. Like, she got her start. She runs one of the largest birthing networks on Facebook. I think it's 30,000 people. So if you want a home birth, she's got you covered. She knows everything. So she just had her 6th child. So she did a home birth. She's got an autistic child from 21 years old. So she's been in this. And quite frankly, I take the lead a lot of times in speaking, but she took the lead in actually living this life. And that's ultimately why I'm doing this, for the people that actually lived the life of getting hurt. So if you want to get involved and you want to go help those that have been hurt and actually need the help, go to the website, usco.org, uscodr.org, and fill out the contact sheet there and get on our list. That's going to be a small number of people. We're not looking for 1 million people there. We're actually looking for 1 million people, but that's going to be a little more slow going. If you know of organizations, I don't care if it's 500 people, 1,000 people, 13,000 people that need help, that don't have someone that can communicate, that don't have someone that can help with emails or graphics, that don't have anybody to help with following or tracking the bills that are going on in their state. That's where Coder is going to come in to try to connect all the dots, clapping back to the national organizations, shining a light where the light's not being shined, but clapping back to the NGOs to let them know what things they could be working on that's not on their radar, clapping back to the actual government organizations like the NIH and the CDC and the EPA, other foodstuff organizations, actually clapping back to the organizations to let them know how powerful we are. So if there's something going on, with deodorized tallow at Shake Shack, maybe we can go in and say, hey, let's make this a little safer. So I think across the board, we're going to be working behind the scenes a little bit. So getting on our socials, following us, coming to the spaces, sharing our posts like we're doing with Makari and Bhattacharya, and the next few things that we'll be coming out with later this week. that's the way to make change.
Also, one of the best ways to make change is to not buy some of these products. I feel like, that is one of the most powerful things that we can do is to stop buying these big food company products. I mean, I'm going to miss my Oreos. I haven't had Oreos in 6 months. I'm very sad about it, but I'm not eating that because of what they've done.
Yep, that's the foodstuffs is a hard one, but it's the one that you have the quickest control over, really, because you can start today, and that's part of it. Like just like spreading the word. One of my friends posted, "Hey, she's going to get some coffee and she's got a drink there," and I'm like, "Do not drink out of that cup." And she's like, "Why?" She picked up the phone and called me. She said, "What are you talking about? What did I do wrong today?" Because I call people out, and I said, "Well, when I go to get my coffee at the local shop, I don't drink out of that paper because it's got a polypropylene coating on the cup, which leaches 20,000 up to 20,000 microplastics in the first 30 minutes that hot cup is sitting there." I told Danielle that, and she's like, "Oh no, this is a cold drink." I'm like, "Okay, then you're off the hook." But it's little things like that where we can start to work together to help shape and shift and make a difference with down to the one of your friends that are drinking out of a cup that's like leaching plastics into them. That'll contribute to the credit card's worth of plastic each human is consuming each week. Each week, that's what you're consuming. A credit card's amount of plastic, roughly, depending
disgusting.
on how you eat.
And it's not
absolutely crazy.
not only consuming the plastic, right? It because it's microplastic, it winds up in places that it really should not be.
Yeah, it's absolutely scary. And I bought a plastics company out of bankruptcy in COVID. I was an event guy. And that's one of the first things I'm doing is try to clean up our shop, clean up our recycling, because plastics are here to stay. It's if you go to the hospital and you have some issues, plastics are most likely going to save your life. But at the same time, you go into hospital, you have a 1 in 5 chance, 1 in 6, 1 in 7 chance, depending on the state, depending on your county, to have a hospital acquired infection. And of those, a small percentage, 1%, will die from that hospital-acquired infection. So these are the kind of things we can wake people up to and start to make change. So I give you those kinds of information when people chime in and say something about the measles. You can, while going after COVID is a little hard because they're brainwashed against that, you can use other things like 18 veterans will die today from committing suicide. Have you done anything about that? Or are you just talking about the one measles death this year? 100,000 people are going to die this year from hospital-acquired infections. Are you talking about that? Are you talking to your congressman about that? Or are you just going to talk about this one measles death? Because, that's an issue. So we have to think
Can't
about
let them control our narrative anymore. I know that we have Goats came up here. I think he might have a question for you before you go, and I know you've got to go. So,
well, Kim, he's got to go. They said the top
well,
of the hour.
I got a couple more minutes. I know Danielle's got it. I know
Okay.
Danielle's got to jump. I don't have as hard of a jump. She can jump.
Well, thanks, Danielle. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you next time.
See you, Danielle.
go ahead, Goats, and then we'll let Billy go.
Hey guys, so ran into this interesting company. It's based in the US, out of Maryland, orgenesis.com, and its leadership, interestingly, the medical director is the husband of Ursula von der Leyen, the head of European Union, I guess. So interesting.
So can you spell the name of the company?
Orgenesis.
Is it
OR Genesis.com.
Or Genesis.
Yeah. It's let me just say questionable looking point of care therapeutics based on cell lines, and it's stuff beyond my head. That's one part that's a little sketchy. And the second is that I looked into their SEC filings, and they recently bought this AI-based solution called Neurocords from an Israeli company, which I believe is an AI model that's digested a whole bunch of COVID-related data and stuff like that. So very questionable and not quite clear as to what they're doing.
I will give this a thought, but yeah, technology. I mean, where pharma is going is technology. I mean, we already know that. We already know that. You know, a vaccine used to be a certain thing, and now they've redubbed it this new gene therapy technology, and now it's moving into nanotech self-assembling. I would imagine from what I'm reading here quickly, that is what they're working on.
This
is they're mentioning
a step beyond, which is point of care, customized gene therapy.
Yeah, this is where you walk in, they do a swab, they tell you, they scare you and say you have this and this, and then they give you a customized gene therapy that releases some kind of a cytokine response that is supposedly manageable. I completely disagree with this kind of stuff. I agree. I think some of this will probably be tangible, right? I mean, I think some of this might work, but at this point, I think this kind of stuff.
What got my attention was that Heiko Hector von der Leyen is the medical director of this tiny little shop based out of Maryland. And the question is why?
Yeah, everybody finds their place to the right place to do the work, even if the work is evil.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you for that, Goats. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for organizing this.
Yeah, usually it's a little more put together, but with X being hacked and the space having so much trouble, we just tried to roll with what we had today.
Yeah. I think Lily had a question, and I'm gonna Lily or Matt, and then I'm gonna jump for both of you guys.
Yeah, dude, like I totally agree with the whole vaccine thing, dude, because like they did switch it on us. They were like, okay, vaccine. So like for me, like the understanding from like an average Joe's perspective is like, you take like an innate piece of the virus, introduce it to your, immune system, and then your immune system, makes antibodies against it. Like that makes sense to me. But why go and change your whole DNA structure in order to make you less susceptible to viruses? It doesn't make any sense unless you want to be able to have a key to make people, either really, really sick or really, really healthy. And you're basically taking control they're basically taking control of your genome essentially when they do that. And that's why a lot of people are getting sick. They're having, GI issues and stuff. And like in reality, like the only thing, that I wanted to know what was the only reason, like what's the only way that we can get back to being healthy? Like what can we actually start to do? Like, can we start to do, holistic things, start to eat healthy? Like I started exercising again, like fucking seriously exercising, like no matter how much pain I'm in, like, because I used to be able to work out a lot, but then after I got the jab, dude, like I really felt like I was like, oh my God, I'm dying, But then like I just started pushing past the headaches and started pushing past the, the gut pains and stuff. And, I do boxing now over here in, off of El Cajon and Chano Boxing. And basically, like I don't know if I'm doing the right things, but I know it's made me feel better just eating healthier and trying to stay away from processed foods and plastics and stuff like that. But it's fucking crazy what they did to us, man.
I've done a lot of research on that, and the only thing that I can tell you is no one has the answer to that. No one. I mean, there's a lot of great input on things that you can be doing, and I can just tell you, I did not take the jab with my family. I got ostracized from everybody in my community. I'm a former Grammy president, Grammy trustee for the DC chapter, the national organization. My whole entire world was music. Like 98% of my feed was musicians, music people, radio people. I'm a drummer since 16. So my whole feed was blown up with people telling me, get the jab, you're a fucking anti-vaxxer. And then when I went to work for Mr. Kennedy, forget about it. I was Satan. I was the demon incarnate. I mean, I was brought here by Satan himself. And even still, am the demon in quite a few people in my community because they're so hard on getting the vaccine. Through all that, I did a lot of like reading for both myself because I got COVID. We got it twice in my family, and even now, my entire family just got sick with whatever this fucking thing that just went around. Everybody in my family got it except for me. Luckily, I think our natural immunity is pretty strong, but we do quite a bit here at my family, and then I do quite a bit personally. So, if I tell people that if I got the jab, this is not medical advice, but I would go down a complete holistic approach at least 30 days to 90 days, 100%, because I would fear that something is going on in my body that I don't understand. Even outside of COVID, I've done things like RSO, which is a medical cannabis. I've done RSO treatments because I believe that can inhibit cancer. I've done ivermectin treatments twice in the past year because that research is quite impressive on slowing down cancer replication. I've water fast for 3 days and 4 days, and now intermittently water fast. If you look at what that does, it's quite fascinating on how it resets the body. The things you put into your body. For example, here we have reverse osmosis. We don't drink tap water. My kids don't eat school lunches. We eat 100% organic. And wheat is another thing that you can cut out. All of these things are things that affect your immune system. The CDC says 1 in 6 people in this country, maybe 1 in 5, have a parasite. So just by simply doing an ivermectin protocol twice, and you remove the parasite, just right there, your immune system is a little better. So if you have animals, you walk outside barefoot, you're out a lot, you're most likely more inclined to probably have a parasite. So you should probably do ivermectin. So those are just a lot of little things that you can start to do just to give you, I don't think there is an end all cure all. I think the only thing you can really do is do the best you can across the board and make yourself as healthy as possible at any given time. So yeah, that's kind of my input.
Bro, I 100% agree with you. I got my ivermectin over here, dude. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and for all the rest of you that want to know where to get it, alldaychemist.com. Great place to go and order it. You just got to put in your doctor's name, and a couple weeks later, you get your ivermectin in the mail.
Huge fan of fasting, and it's Lent, so it's a good time to fast, I guess. But I'd like to separate out 2 things, right? One is the personal care, self-care, health aspect of it. But the second is, I think what's happened with COVID, there's definitely an aspect of biowarfare at some level. And I'm very concerned about a European big shot investor putting money into and buying technology based in the US that's related to gene therapy.
Yeah, like who owns 23andMe, which was started by Sergey Brin's wife. All that. That's why I ordered 23andMe. I got it. I read the papers on it, and I was like, nope, not going to be doing this. So now all that data is owned by that. That is again part of the reason why I got into this, because these multinational corporations are trying to steal our data. They've already got us fighting on a virtual civil war on social media with false information. The next is just stealing our health and making us so we can't leave our homes, and we're stuck in our homes. So I completely agree. This is biowarfare. I don't think there's any other way to look at it. I do kind of hold back my words in some places, because I still think that when you're out in the real world, the left is brainwashed to such a point where they can't hear these words or even think about them as a possibility. And so you have to kind of be careful where you say certain things, not because I'm concerned about something happening to me, but because I'm concerned about losing the fight, the overall fight, the overall battle, and and then ultimately the war. That's my biggest concern. So I watch where I say those things to make sure people, if they're more inclined not to agree, that there's a way to get to the point where they agree and to where they understand, maybe not agree. And that's sometime a 12-step process to get people to listen, hear, and think for themselves.
Yeah, but I really appreciate that, man. Because I know you got to get out of here, but like you're 100% right, dude. People are kind of just zoned out. Like if you try to talk about anything real with them, it's like a bunch of NPCs walking around right now, right? Like all they know how to do is revert to their primary directive of like, oh my God, you're a racist, homophobe, blah 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 blah, and they just rattle off their defense mechanism, which is saying a bunch of incoherent shit that they learn from Rachel Maddow or CNN or TikTok or wherever the hell they get their left liberal news. And it's like only thing you can do is try to beat them logically. Like you literally have to. It's literally like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those movies where they fucking kill the robot by trying to make it solve pi, right? So you literally have to have that level of conversation with them to break the psyop, man. You literally have to have that conversation with them to the literal, divinity of you literally have to talk as if you're a divine being reaching down into their mind and trying to reprogram them with like kindness and understanding of their plight and situation, because most of these people are kind of sick in the head. And it's not their fault, it's just how things are.
That is true. Hey Matt, did you have a question before I jump?
No, I didn't have a
but
question.
I did, but honestly, I'm just gonna wait because I'm gonna wait till you come on next time, or whatever, in consideration of your time, because I know you do have to jump and get to work.
Well, hold on, man. I live for this. So is there something I can't answer in 10 minutes? Because this is what I do.
No, I just wanted to be considerate of your time and just.
No, if you have a question, I'd rather answer it. I don't like to leave before this. We pay attention to everybody.
Matt, he's saying it's all right.
Go for it.
Let's
mix it up. Let's mix it up.
I'm giving him an out. I give him an out. And he wouldn't take it. So anyway,
I didn't take it.
But anyway, so what is what's going to be your sort of main focus as far as public policy? Let's after the confirmation, because that's after the confirmation, all those guys are in. What's going to be your big focus public policy wise? Like, what's the one thing you want all these guys to do once the whole team's together? Because I assume RFK can only do so much, but what needs to be done at the FDA level, CDC level, and all those other agencies that are going to be under him?
Oh man, that's a lot of work. What we're going to not do is focus on the national level, because that level is a layer that is very hard to penetrate. And those guys are going to have a million ideas. And with the slow moving government, the way it works and the forces coming against them, they're only going to be able to tweak so much. But one thing that I think is the most important for us, you can listen to the news and you can watch what's going on, and you can realize that over a given week, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. It's just the same. You think about it Monday, you think about it Friday, nothing's changed other than what? You watch the news, it gets you amped up. Hey, this is going on, that's going on. But really not much changes. But what does happen at the state level is it's just constantly moving forward. And there's constantly new laws being brought up and waged against our rights. So we are 100% focused on making sure states have rights and the people in those states have a voice to make change, and that is not affected by external companies like this Ogenesis, located here. How much money are they going to have to lobby on Capitol Hill to get things done, and then ultimately work through other organizations to push things through at state levels?
God only knows.
I can tell you all right now, I think if Danielle was on here and you talk to me, our biggest fear is what's going on in Maryland happens to other states, which, I got involved with all of this. One of my first things I did was testify on Capitol Hill in DC about forced mandating vaccines for kids under 14 without their parents' knowledge. Meaning a kid could go to school, they don't have a vaccine, a doctor could say, we need to give it to you. The kid could go, oh, what do I need? I don't think I need this. Yes, you do. I'm the boss. And then they just give that kid a vaccine. That same stuff is happening in Maryland. And these laws, if you follow it, they're going on all across the country. These laws basically are the backbone of the industrial complexes because they know where this is waged. We can sit here and fight left and right at the national level over all this stuff and, hey, we're going to get laid off because I didn't report what hours I worked last week. From Doge is going to lay me off. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, and we can argue that back and forth. But where the magic actually happens are these legislators, your local community actually being able to make a difference with these bills that are coming up. And they come fast and furious. They come heavy and fast. They come overworded and underread, and they come to make change on a level that is systematic and that reverberates through other states. So and I use the example of what just happened this past week, where the Amish school in New York is being fined $108,000, and a federal judge just announced they have to vaccinate their kids. They're going to force vaccinate these kids, and they're being fined for not doing so. So part of the states' rights agenda is that idea that if New York as a state wants to make it so it is mandatory, at least you can move to another state where it's not. I know that sounds crazy, and I don't want to be saying that, and that's not something I want to stand behind. But at the bare minimum, our founding fathers set that up so that at least we have states in this country where you can go to that are your people. Your people used to be, if you were Chinese, you went here. You went to Chinatown. If you're a gay American, if you're gay, you want to go to San Francisco because those are your people. It's starting to turn into this idea that if you want your health and food freedom, if you don't want a vaccine, you might have to move states. Ultimately, that's kind of what we're up against. I think the bottom line for us, and I think we have ability to do this over this next 2 years, is make it so that nothing is mandated and you don't need to move out of your state for health and food freedom. You might need to move out of your state for an abortion currently, and you might need to move out of your state because you don't agree with abortion because you want to move somewhere that doesn't allow it. Those are your choices. But as far as the fundamental right to have the food that you want, like raw milk, which I cannot get in Maryland, I have to order it from an Amish farm in Pennsylvania and have it shipped down every week. And if you don't want to be mandated to get a vaccine, and you don't want your kids, which is currently on the docket here in Maryland, to take my right as a parent and pull them into a community office and vaccinate my kids without my consent, these are the things that fundamentally have to be universal across all states, no matter what. So I find that that's what we're going to be fighting for. And I can tell you, it's not an easy fight. It's a very, very big fight. And our goal is to work again, O to O, org to org, in the back end, trying to figure out what these organizations need. And when you talk to Danielle, and I've been talking to her for 2 years now, that's where the fight is. And it's a thankless fight, and no one sees it. So unless you're following your legislation in your own state and you're seeing what's popping up, just like you're following the vaccines that are on the adult schedule, there's 200 in the pipeline now for vaccines against us. And they want some of these put on the child schedule, because if you know what that's like, if you're on the child schedule, you get liability protection. And ultimately, that's why COVID went on the child schedule and why they had to keep it there, because as it's on the child schedule, no one can sue and you're screwed. So this is the foundation of what we're working on. That's the foundation, is the state level stuff. The national level stuff, we're going to be taking clapbacks from the people that we know within the government that are on Bobby's team and Bobby to figure out what those are. But they're going to be able to handle a lot of that with the national organizations and their leverage within government. And if they need our voice on the state level, what we're doing is, I want to be able to say to the 74 state groups that we have, and the reach that we have of about 1.5 million, hopefully we'll have that by the end of the month, that we could get all of these people to sign a petition, and I can go do shoe leather shit on Capitol Hill and walk in knowing that all those senators and congressmen got letters, and I can walk in with the binder that said, we know you got 1.25 million letters, because here they are in these binders. They're not binders of women. These are binders of real people that have made a difference, that are going to make a difference in our health and food freedom.
Well, you're doing the Lord's work, so keep it up.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Well, if you're in Maryland, we have Cheryl Riley down there. And she's also in Maryland. She actually ran against Jamie Raskin last time, which is a huge task to take on. And I know she does a lot in Maryland, so I would love to like get you guys in touch because I know she'd probably be interested in that, I'd venture to say.
Yeah, time for coffee, just not in a paper cup, in a ceramic one.
I see you down there, Cheryl. Okay, she's throwing up hundreds.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think
we'll connect you
look forward to
guys.
chatting.
All
right, guys, I'm going to jump.
Council, before you leave, can I mention something real quick?
Sure.
I just wanted to say a lot of things that you're talking about on the state level, you know, a lot of that, I'm sure you would agree, is really, it's going to be educating because so many people think, so many people think wrong, you know, you're going to kill everybody. And, you know, there's just so much more backstory to that. But I just really wanted to thank you so much. That's why I wanted to pop back up and just say how important these spaces are, and to thank Jennifer and American Mission for doing this. And thank you, Council. And just also, too, as a side note, I've got to plug, there are these spaces that I go to like every Sunday. It's Apothecary. She's down there and she talks about a lot of this stuff. So just saying, every Sunday, like starting at 9 Eastern, I think and I love her spaces, and I learned so much.
10 Eastern.
And I just wanted to pass that on.
That's great. Yeah, I order all my essential oils from an apothecary company. So yeah, and I do think education, to be honest with you, is a big piece of this. We're actually working on that right now. We've got a couple key slogans and ideas for how we educate on these topics. It's just a lot of back end work to get these all under one umbrella, and so that's what we're going to be working on over these next 2 months, 2-3 months. So, all right, guys, I thank you guys. I think there's a spaces tomorrow I'm going to try to hit as well with American Mission, and then we'll probably be doing one on Thursday at 6 to kind of finalize some of the stuff we're working on. And love chatting with you guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys soon.
Hey, bro, real quick, like, do you do your own spaces?
We are Council on Domestic Relations is a brainchild from 6 months ago of mine that we just kind of pulled the trigger and launched a few days ago. So literally we launched it like a week ago and started the process. So we are brand new as an entity. I mean, I'm Billy Zero on Facebook and on X. But as an organization, yes, we're going to start our first spaces this Thursday at 6.
All right, cool, man. Thanks. I'll follow you. I follow you now, and hopefully we can make something happen, bro. I'm in San Diego. If you're ever in town.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys. Be well.
Bye. All right, Kim, do you want to keep it going, or what do you want to do? Kim is not even there. Caught her.
She probably walked away from the mic. Or something.
Well, I mean, we can
Okay, well, play amongst yourselves.
Well, you know, I mean, I was going to say we could continue that conversation about, you know, because like that's kind of like normally when there's nothing to talk about, it's really cool to just bounce back to the topic of the space. It's really like a call to action, and like it'd be really cool just to see what everybody's up to and what they're doing to kind of, you know, because I feel like everybody's doing something every day, you know, like in their own little way, contributing to like the cause. And the cause is whatever you believe it is that makes it better for each one of these human beings on this planet, because we forgot what it means to be neighbors. And like that's what I try to do. Like I try to wake people up through, you know, entertainment and through music and through like small business consulting. Just, you know, I find people and like I say, hey, wait, what are you into? Like, what's your dream? And then I try to find ways to like make it, you know, freaking happen for them. Like, even if it means coming out of my own pocket or driving them to an event or, you know, picking up their, you know, equipment and stuff. Like I try to do it all, because sometimes I get paid and sometimes I don't, but most of the time it's really just like helping out people. And that's what they try to take away from us. They tried to make everything crony capitalist, but we forgot what conscious capitalism is. And that's kind of what my business is I run things through conscious capitalism. Like the original form of capitalism is where we create win situations at the sixth power. It's a book written by John Mackey and Dr. Rod, and I'm pretty sure you guys know it. So, like it'd be real interesting just to know what you guys are all doing. And, like I said, I'm in San Diego. So if you ever want to work with me, just let me know.
I think it's important that we get these that we do what we got to do to get these cabinet guys in.
Kim, are you there? Kim. I gotta go.
Great.
Yeah, peace out, guys. I'll see you guys around, man. I hope you guys all have a good one. Because, like, in reality, there's lots
Thank
to
you,
talk
Mr.
about.
Lilly.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. Because, like,
Yeah, definitely come back. Sorry, we just need to the space is already we usually end at 5, so I'm just trying to get the space shut down.
yeah, it's like 2:00 over here in San Diego. So, like, I forget what time it is.
Yeah, it's 5:30 here. So yeah, we usually end at 5.
Well, peace. You guys have a good one.
Thank you, Mr. Lilly. Have a great
You
day.
too. Bye.
Bye. Dude, where the hell is Kimberly?
Surely she didn't lose connection.
Kim, are you alive? Do we need to send EMS?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Come on. Surely she'll pop in any minute now.
I'll just start letting people up on stage. Whatevs.
Oh,
Chris, where's Kim?
Let's see. She just sent me a text. Just a second.
What do you mean she just sent you a text? Hi.
Anyway.
Fuzziest, you just came
I'm
up
here.
on stage.
I'm not
Missy?
not as good as Kim, but I'm here.
Well, thanks, Chris. Missy, are you up on stage? Fuzziest, Missy? Fussiest? Is that what I'm saying
Yes.
wrong? Fussiest.
I actually.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Hi, everyone. I enjoyed listening. I usually catch American Mission in the mornings, like 7:30 in the morning sometimes. And my app was acting up today, so I had to reinstall it, and I was having problems with my mic. I just got it to work, and I didn't mean to request a mic. I was just testing it. But thank you anyway. And I love the conversation.
You're so welcome. No problem. Thanks for being up here. All right, Pepe, you came up on stage. How are you today?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Doing well.
So I heard through the chatter, that the reason why X was so shoddy earlier is because it was getting a DDoS attack after ICE had come in and cleaned out all the H-1Bs. So there was only like 3 people running the whole show.
Well, so apparently the DDoS attack is originating out of the Ukraine. So as Zelensky sent a apology letter to President Trump, hackers apparently out of Ukraine attacked X. So I think that calling to null and voids that apology letter.
Did you expect it to be anybody else than the guy you just took all the money away from?
I mean, no, but did you really have to wait until President Trump received your letter and then you launch a DDoS attack? It just seems like really dumb.
Hey, Janet.
I don't know. It seems like a cokehead.
It was
might
the
do
Saudis.
I don't know.
I was waiting on him to say.
Nobody said it was the Jews.
Oh gosh.
I was waiting on him to blame
I'm sorry,
Iran and
y'all.
Qatar.
I had to throw that in there, Jen. I'm sorry.
I see you, Matt, is trying to start trouble up in this space. Just because Kim is nowhere to be found and can't shut down the space, I'm not just going to leave the space. So I'll just sit here and be annoying until Kim comes back.
You would have known if it would have been the Jews because they would have blamed Iran or Qatar.
If y'all freaking start that shit, I'm going to drop
Do you want me to
asses,
close
I
the
swear to
space?
God. Wait, can you, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I think we should just shut it down because there's not many people on stage, we usually shut down. I mean, Pepe's up here, obviously, but
Well, nobody wants to.
and Adam's down in the freaking listener section laughing. Don't know why Adam's in the listener section laughing, but here we are.
Because I'm spitting hot facts and fire.
Chris is up here trying to help.
Y'all can blame me for it later.
All right, let's see here.
If Kim is out there like painting a picture, I'm gonna be so mad at her right now.
Sitting over there painting, texting Chris, not paying any attention to the space.
Right?
Yeah.
Here, Jen.
How are you guys?
Where am I taking you, Mom? Why am I sitting in the listener section?
I'm doing it.
Kim is nowhere to be found, and we can't shut down the space.
She's going to get an X-ray and a mammogram, and I'm taking her to go get that done. So.
Sorry, guys.
Hi.
Not to make you feel
you talked
bad,
about
Jen.
your mom. I thought you said you took Kim to get him.
We're on the road. Thanks for having us up.
Okay, I've got the flag now.
Yay, Chris. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We're going to shut the space down now, but we'll have another one when X isn't under a Ukrainian DDoS attack.
Are you sure?
That was very challenging today.
Down?
I mean, it's up to you, Chris, if you want to run this space, but I couldn't leave the space with no host.
Well, I'm running the flags.
All right.
So
Well, I'll be back in a little while, but I got to go right now. I got to run to the grocery store. Bye, guys.
Later, Jen.
Later.
Where's